I used to be fit. I used to have this handled. I don't know what happened. Have you ever had those thoughts? Have you ever caught your reflection somewhere unexpectedly? A shop window, or maybe a photo someone tagged you in, and just thought, when did that happen? Not in a dramatic way, just that quiet moment when you realize that the one looking back at you doesn't quite match the version in your head anymore. Well, I can assure you, you're not alone in that. In fact, thousands of men are having the same conversation with themselves around the world in this very moment. But here's the thing. Most are not in that situation because they are lazy. Most men aren't clueless. They're just making a handful of mistakes that quietly stack up over time, turning effort into frustration and leaving them wondering why nothing seems to work anymore. The real culprit, the common sense fitness advice that worked at 25, which is now actively working against you. Now, in a minute, I'll show you the one mistake that's probably costing you the most, and it's not what you think. I'm Matt Farr, and I've spent over 2 decades coaching busy professionals and entrepreneurs through exactly this stuff. Fatigue, weight creep, that general sense that your body's slowly betraying you. My books and courses have reached over 12,000 people worldwide, and this channel is basically the same approach, filled with science-backed, no-nonsense strategies for building vitality and energy after 40. It's not all theory and gym bro motivation, just what actually works when your body doesn't bounce back like it used to. Today we'll cover the 5 mistakes when trying to get back into shape in your 40s. We'll start with the training trap that most men fall into, then hit the invisible saboteur that's probably tanking your results right now. Now, I promise I'm going to do my best to keep this simple to understand, so let me know how I do in the comments below. So let's be honest, your body at 42 isn't your body of 25. Now, I know that sounds obvious, but most men don't actually train like they believe it. Testosterone drops 1 to 2% every year after you hit 30. Your metabolism slows down, recovery takes longer, sometimes a lot longer. And here's a bit that doesn't get talked about enough. Men of 40 to 60 have the highest rates of preventable chronic disease. Did you know that? Heart disease, type 2 diabetes, metabolic syndrome, they all spike during this time. And this is important. It's not all doom and gloom. A 2019 study published in the British Medical Journal found that men who stayed fit through middle age had 30 to 50% lower mortality risk over the following 20 years. That's massive. It's not a meaningless number. It's potentially decades of extra life, being around for your kids, your grandkids, your actual life, not just the tail end of it. So getting in shape now isn't vanity. It's not about looking good at the beach, but of course that's a nice bonus. It's about survival, quality of life, staying capable and independent for as long as possible. That's the real game. Everything else is just noise. Right, so let's get into the 5 mistakes. Mistake number 1, training like you're still 25. This is the big one, the one that gets men injured before they even build momentum. You think the problem is you're not working hard enough. Actually, that's exactly why you're stuck. You remember what worked at 22, heavy weights, 6 days a week, push through the pain, night out on the town, sleep 4 hours, do it again, right? And look, it did work back then. But here's the problem. Your body's changed in ways you just can't ignore anymore. Your tendons repair slower, your joints have less cushion, your nervous system is more sensitive to accumulated stress. Think of your body like a phone battery. At 25, that battery charged full overnight no matter what you threw it in. But at 45, that same battery takes twice as long to reach the same level. And if you keep pushing before it's actually charged, it never quite catches up. You end up perpetually drained, wondering why you feel worse the harder you try. Research shows that recovery markers in men over 40 can take significantly longer to normalize, often requiring 48 to 72 hours of total recovery time between intense sessions, compared to 24 to 48 hours for younger men. That's up to an extra day or 2 before your body is genuinely ready to go again. So here's what actually works. Train 3 to 4 hours, not 6. Leave at least 1 full rest day between resistance sessions. Your muscles need that time to actually rebuild. Focus on compound movements like squats, presses, and rows, but use controlled tempos. 3 to 4 seconds on the way down, a 1 second pause, 2 seconds on the way up. You'll feel the difference immediately. And warm up properly. 5 to 10 minutes ideally, not that half-hearted arm swing you used to get away with. Your 25-year-old self could skip that. You can't. Ego lifting leads to shoulder injuries, back injuries, knee injuries, and then you're out for months. All that progress, gone. Train smart, not hard. There's a difference, and it matters more every year. This isn't backing off, it's compounding. Consistent, moderate training beats heroic efforts followed by injury every time. But here's where it gets interesting. Even if you nail your training, there's something happening whilst you sleep that most men completely overlook. And it might just be what's placing that invisible ceiling on your results without you even realizing it. Mistake number 2, neglecting recovery and sleep. This one's invisible, which is exactly why men ignore it. You might be putting in the work, eating right, training consistently, but your body is quietly undoing all of it whilst you scroll at midnight. The thing with recovery is you can't see it. You can't really feel it during the process either. You just know the effects at the end. So it gets bumped down the priority list behind everything else. But this is a big mistake. Sleep is where the magic actually happens. Around 95% of your growth hormone releases during deep sleep. Now that's a hormone that's critical to muscle repair, fat burning, and keeping you feeling like yourself. Without enough deep sleep, you're basically trying to build a house while nobody shows up to do the work. The materials are there, the plans are there, but nothing gets built. Here's the problem. On average, most men aged 40 to 55 average about 6 hours per night. And I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's simply not enough. A landmark study by the University of Chicago found that men sleeping 5 hours a night had testosterone levels equivalent to 10 to 15 years older. So if you're currently 45, you'd have the same testosterone levels as a 60-year-old. In that study, just 1 week of poor sleep was shown to drop testosterone by 10 to 15%. Think about that for a second. You're training hard, eating right, doing everything you're supposed to do, putting in all that effort, but skimping on sleep, and your hormones are quietly working against you the entire time. You start telling yourself you'll catch up on the weekend, or that you've always functioned fine on less, but the data doesn't lie, even when you do. You need 7 to 8 hours minimum. It's non-negotiable. Keep your sleep and wake times consistent. Yes, even on the weekends. Cut caffeine after 2. No screens an hour before bed. Schedule deload weeks too. Every 4 to 6 weeks, drop the intensity by about half and let your body catch up. It might feel counterproductive, but believe me, it's not. Recovery isn't laziness. It's where you actually become fitter, stronger, and healthier. So that's 2 down, 3 to go. So far, we've covered training smarter and prioritizing recovery and sleep. Both essential, both commonly ignored. But the next one, this is where I see men split into 2 camps. And both of them are getting it wrong in ways that actively sabotage their results. Mistake 3, ignoring nutrition fundamentals. This is where it gets interesting and where most men get it completely backwards. Camp 1 basically ignores food completely. They train hard, eat whatever's convenient, and figure the exercise will balance it all out. Camp 2 does the opposite direction. Extreme restriction, 1200 calories, no carbs, constant hunger. Suffering is essentially their strategy. Both are wrong, but Camp 2 might actually be worse, which surprises most people. Crash dieting after 40 is a disaster. Research in the Journal of Obesity showed that when middle-aged men diet aggressively, 25 to 30% of the weight that they lose comes from muscle, not fat. You might lose 10 pounds, but 3 pounds of that is muscle. Do that on multiple occasions and you're shrinking your engine. Your metabolism drops and the next year fat loss will be even harder. But that's not even the worst part. As you age, your muscles become resistant to protein. Scientists call it anabolic resistance, which sounds technical but basically means your muscles have become a bit deaf to the protein signals. They need a louder message, more protein, to build the same amount of muscle they once did much more easily. Research, including the work published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, shows that men over 40 benefit from 1.6 to 1.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight to overcome age-related anabolic resistance. For a man weighing 80 kilos, that's 130 to 175 grams of protein daily, spread across 3 to 4 meals. That's 30 to 40 grams per meal minimum. Most men are falling well short of that. Now, if you do choose to cut calories, aim to keep that calorie deficit moderate, a few hundred calories below maintenance, not 1,000. Aim for about 80% whole foods and drink 2 to 3 liters of water daily. It sounds basic, but most men aren't doing it. Sustainable beats extreme every single time. If you're finding this useful, there's a lot more on this channel. Subscribe if you want more of the boring stuff that actually works. Now, here's where most men hear eat more protein, moderate deficit, and immediately do something that makes things worse. They think the answer to fat loss is more cardio. And honestly, it's probably the most damaging mistake on this list. Mistake 4, skipping strength training for excessive cardio. This is a classic trap I see constantly. It's going to sting if, like many men, you find yourself grinding away on that treadmill. You want to lose weight, so you run, you cycle, hours of cardio every week, sweating it out, watching the calories tick up on the machine. It feels productive, feels like you're doing the work. But here's what nobody tells you. Believe it or not, cardio without strength training actually accelerates muscle loss. You end up what some people call ski fat. Light on the scale, sure, but soft, weak, and with a metabolism that's tanked because you've lost the very tissue that keeps it running. But I'm burning calories, you might be thinking. After all, isn't that the goal? Burn more than you consume, right? Not quite. Think of muscle as your metabolic engine. Cardio alone is like trying to make your car more efficient by removing the engine parts. You'll weigh less, sure, but you won't go anywhere fast, and every year it gets harder to maintain. Your number one priority as a man over 40 looking to get back into shape should be to protect or even increase your muscle, not destroy it. A healthy amount of muscle is essential to a healthy metabolism at any age, especially after 40. Research comparing cardio only versus combined cardio and resistance training consistently shows the combination group loses significantly more fat whilst preserving muscle. The difference isn't small, it's substantial. Same effort, completely different results. So for example, a Harvard study published in Obesity tracked over 10,500 men over a 12-year period. Then they found that strength training was more effective than cardio for preventing age-related belly fat accumulation. Not slightly, but significantly. Each kilogram of muscle burns roughly 13 calories at rest per day, which doesn't sound like much, I know. But when you realize it's working 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, even whilst you sleep. So here's a good way to think about it. Strength training is the main course. Cardio is the side dish. If you want to do cardio, do so, but ensure you spend more time doing resistance training. Aim for at least 2 to 3 resistance training sessions a week. And if you want to do lots of cardio, the best type is walking, followed by high intensity or sprint intervals. Low impact, high return, zero downside. Lift weights, walk lots, sprint occasionally, that's the formula. Let's recap where we're at. Mistake 1. Training like you're still 25, or wondering why you're always injured or exhausted. Mistake 2. Neglecting recovery and sleep, the invisible saboteurs. Mistake 3. Getting nutrition wrong, either through neglect or extreme restriction. And mistake 4. Drowning in cardio while your muscle wastes away. 4 mistakes down, 1 to go. And this last one has killed more fitness comebacks than all the others combined. Not because it's complicated, but because it's human nature working against you. Mistake 5, lack of consistency and realistic expectations. This one's uncomfortable to talk about because it's not really about information. It's about psychology. You've seen the transformation photos online, right? 12-week shred, dad bod to cover model, and some part of you expects the same trajectory. Maybe not consciously, but let's be real, we're all partial to a quick win. but it sets you up for failure and disappointment. Now, here's the truth most people won't tell you. Many of those transformations are in harms. Steroids, metabolism damaging protocols, light tricks, or years of work compressed into a misleading before and after. It's not that they're all fake, but the timeline and the methods are rarely what they appear to be. It's a real enemy here. Not your lack of discipline, not your genetics, but the fitness industry selling you impossible dreams based on impossible timelines. Don't get enticed. Real lasting results come from real, consistent work. Real progress from men over 40, that's half a kilo to maybe maximum 1 kilo of fat loss every week. 2 to 3 kilos of muscle gain in the first year of proper training. That's realistic. That's what the research actually shows. Anything faster than that, and you're either losing muscle or doing something unsustainable or both. 6 weeks in, and I don't look any different. That's a common complaint. And here's the thing. Research in the European Journal of Social Psychology found habit formation takes 66 days on average. Most men quit at 6 weeks. To save you the math, that's 42 days. Right before habits actually lock in. They're leaving the party just as the music's about to get good. Studies in exercise adherence demonstrate that consistency over 6 months or more produces significantly better results than programming hopping, with some research showing outcomes 2 to 3 times better for consistent exercises. Now here's the key point. It's regardless of the program they follow. The program mattered less than the consistency. So remember this, consistency beats perfection. Every single time. I know it's not sexy. I know it doesn't sell supplements, but it's true. Set process goals, not outcome goals. I will train 3 times this week. Instead of, I will lose 2 stone. Track sessions completed, protein targets hit, sleep hours logged. These are the things that you control. The outcomes follow, but they take time. Expect visible results at 12 weeks minimum. Real transformation, the kind that actually sticks, takes 6 to 12 months. This is a long game. Play it like one. That's 12 weeks to see it, 6 months to own it. That's reality. Right, so let's pull all of this together into something you can actually use starting this week. For training, 3 resistance sessions with a full rest day between each. 2 cardio sessions, 1 steady, 1 interval based. Walk a lot. 10 minutes warm up before every session, no exceptions. For recovery, 7 to 8 hours sleep. Same bedtime daily, no caffeine after 2. Screens off 1 hour before bed. Deload every 4 to 6 weeks. If you do nothing else this week, just fix your sleep time. Same time to bed every night. That single change unlocks everything else. For nutrition, 1.6 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight spread across your meal. Moderate deficit only, 2 to 300 calories maximum, 2 to 3 liters of water daily. For mindset, track consistency, not outcomes. Track progress photos monthly and ignore the daily scale fluctuations. Give yourself 12 weeks minimum before judging whether something's working or not. Simple, sustainable, effective. Not that sexy 30 pounds in 12 weeks, I know. But the real cheat sheet past 40 is boring, steady consistency. Stacked over months. Make boring the new sexy. So now you know. Your body isn't broken. Your approach was. So here's what it all comes down to. After 40, your body needs a different approach. Not harder, different. Train smarter, recover properly, eat enough protein, lift weights, stay consistent longer than it feels comfortable. Do that and you'll build more muscle, lose more fat, and feel better than men half your age who are still trying to out-cardio their bad habits. Pick one mistake this week, and if something hit home today, or you've got questions about your own situation, let me know in the comments. Run with this plan from today, and if you want something more structured and personalized, my details are in the description. Your 25-year-old body is gone. That's just reality. But your strongest body, that's still ahead of you. Most men never realize that's even possible. Remember that reflection in the shop window? The one that didn't match the version in your head. 6 months from now, it can. Your 25-year-old body was gone. But your strongest body, that's still ahead of you. Now, I touched on resistance training in this video, but if you want to understand exactly why it's the most powerful tool you have after 40, watch this next video here. It will change how you think about every workout that you do.